Good governance is a measure of how politicians conduct themselves. Institutions represent the aspirations of the people within the rule of law. On the big agenda, we bring you topical issues on policies, politics, and personalities. Joining me on these segments is distinguished Senator Abdul Aziz Yar'adua, the senator representing Katsina Central Senatorial District. It's a pleasure to have. At the plenary, you raised a motion against firearms abuses by personnel of Nigeria Customs Services. Was the state hasty to grant them use, and how do you think we can stop these unwarranted killings?
Well, the first thing is that this reckless abuse of firearms by the customs service or customs officials, I believe, has to do with the way, they conduct themselves in terms of rules of engagement. Now, being a former or a retired military officer, I'm aware that, in the military, there's what we call fire discipline. And there are rules of engagement, there are operating procedures on firearms. So you discover that military personnel, especially the Army, Navy, and Air Force, when it comes to use of firearms, irrespect of, civilians or Nigerians, they are restricted in how they use it. We don't know if it is so for the customs and other paramilitary. So, and maybe that is why, especially with the police too, maybe that is why they use the weapon recklessly by killing people. So I think it's important for us to know whether the customs do have standard operating procedures as it affects firearms and the rules of engagement. Because when you look at the law of war, it says, you don't shoot an unarmed civilian. And even if in the course of war, you find an enemy and he raises his hands up, you are not supposed to shoot him. If you shoot him, you have committed a war crime. So it is important for us to know why the customs operatives continue to kill people. In the plenary, it was brought out that I think the former customs controller general may have given a directives as maybe a policy that a kind of shoot at sight order. So probably they are still on that shoot at sight order, which I think it is not part of, the operations of the customs. They are supposed to be persuasive in whatever they do. The most important thing for them is to get revenue for this country and not to kill people.
Okay, why the issue lingers, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed a custom officer, which sounds like returning them to their normal way of work. What's your opinion on this?
Well, I think it is good, and we commend him for doing that, because some of these appointments made, outside, the services, does not even encourage the personnel, to aspire to their, to the highest, to their, the highest point of their career. For example, have you ever seen anybody appointed the chief of army staff outside the army? So why the customs? Why other paramilitary? So I think what he has done is quite commendable, and this should be the norm. Any institution, not only military, people should be given that opportunity to aspire to the highest office, because when you allow those that are within the service, they know the service, they know their men, and I believe the rule of law will be followed by them. So this is a welcome development, and we hope to engage the CG very soon, the acting CG, on this issue. And I think I have seen online some of the directives he has given to withdraw, some of his men that are at the checkpoints, probably perpetrating these acts. So, which is quite commendable. But as you know, another committee has been set up by the Senate, of which I'm a member. And very soon we are going to engage the acting CG of Customs, and we are going to visit some of the states, that border other West African countries, in order to get to the root of the matter.
Okay, sir. Why the ADO committee is being set up, and you are a member of the ADO committee? What ways or what strategies are you going to use or to push through to make sure that these killings, unwanted killings by the custom personnel, are being stopped through your committee?
Well, the first thing is we are going to look into the Customs Act. One, basically, primarily to find out whether in their act they have standard operating procedures in respect of firearms, and whether, they uphold rules of engagement as it affects the use of firearms. It is from that angle that we'll look at, if they do not have it, one of the recommendations definitely will be for the Senate to amend, if possible, the Act to make sure that there are standing operating procedures as it affects firearms, and then to ensure that they have rules of engagement in respect of how they operate outside. So these are the things basically we are going to look into, and we are going to have engagement also, with the citizens that are bordering, in the towns that are bordering some of these West African countries, to know, how they have been engaging with the customs, and so we can find solutions, and at the end of the day, on how they will be, dealing with Nigerian citizens everywhere.
All right, sir. Distinguished, let me get your opinion on few national issues. During the president's inaugural speech, he declared the removal of the subsidy on petroleum products. What alternative plans were made to caution this effect on average?
Well, I think the president, first, it must be commended for what he did. This is something that has lingered on for a long time. The issue of subsidy, Nigerians really do not enjoy that subsidy. We all know very few people within the oil and gas enjoy this subsidy. So what is important is that the president has come up with a plan to cushion the effect of the subsidy. One of it is the 500 billion naira palliative that we approved in the Senate for the president, and I believe they are working, very hard now to ensure that they bring something that will, cushion the effect of the subsidy. But let me say that I think Nigerians must be prepared now. We have to be prepared, one, to support the president, because some of these policies that are coming up, we have to endure, are going to be very, very, difficult, in the sense that a lot of things have gone wrong. So the president has come up, he knows these challenges that the nation is facing in terms of the economy and the social well-being of Nigerians. So we as Nigerians must support him, and we must understand that it is important for us, for anything good to come, we have to endure the pain. Otherwise, it's good that he came up with this, so Nigerians will know we should not continue, with the normal things that we do. We must come out and tell Nigerians the truth. We have challenges with our economy. We have security problems, for goodness sake. So we have to endure this pain, and I believe whatever we are doing today, we are doing it for the future generations. We don't want to, hand over the challenges that we are facing today to the next generation. You can imagine if this subsidy continues. Yes, we might think we are enjoying 165 or something naira to a liter, But the truth is that we are subsidizing, or we are killing the generations that are yet unborn. So if we continue with this, it's better we that are alive today, we endure the pains for a better Nigeria tomorrow.
Okay, like you rightly said, you said 500 billion naira has been approved. Now, I want to know, or rather ask, what is the mode of sharing? Because I want to believe that some Nigerians...
Well, that is for the executive. We as the Senate have approved 500 billion. I believe the executive is going to come out with the modalities of how this is going to be shared. So what is important to us as Senate is to ensure that we assist the president, to reduce the pains and the sufferings of Nigerians.
But a lot of Nigerians are curious to know. Some persons believe that in the rural areas, some persons does not have accounts.
Yes,
accounts. So
work is in progress. Work is in progress. And you should know that the past administration or government came up with a social investment program, and a lot of Nigerians, benefited from that social investment program. So yes, they may not have accounts, but as we move on gradually, everybody is going to have an account. So and that is what it should be. What is important is, for us to educate Nigerians on the need, to really have accounts, because you see, it makes it easier for whatever palliative that you are giving to a Nigerian to go directly into his account. We all know what happens if you hand over huge sum of money to an individual or to some people and say, go and share it to Nigerians. We all know what will happen. But it's better. Why do you think the IPPIS system of paying civil servants was introduced? It's to curb this type of thing, to make sure that money is meant for a worker goes directly to his account. So I believe with time and education, Nigerians will get to know the importance of having an account. Today we have what we call OPay. You can just through your phone open an account. Recently I was shocked. My children went online and opened an account with OPay. I thought they had to go and fill forms. And they came to me and said, Dad, I have an account now. And I was shocked. So I think with such microfinance banks coming up, it will be much easier.
Okay, distinguished, are you confidently telling us that we are expecting lights at the end of the tunnel, knowing that former presidents are familiar with promises of fixing our refineries?
Inshallah, by the grace of God, there will be light at the end of the tunnel. What is important and what I am appealing to Nigerians is to please exercise patience and give Mr. President a chance to do the needful. He has a lot of experience. He knows the challenges of Nigeria. And I tell you, I know him, and I know what he stands for. And I know that the president that I know will never say something and do something else.
It's a great honor to have you on the show, Distinguished. Thank you so much for your audience. And at this point, we come to the end of the program. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and of course on Facebook. Also turn on the notification button to get updates from Prime Reporters News. Thank you and be safe out there.